Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm bringing you another 1v1 deathmatch here, and it's gonna be against Hannable SGB. You'll see it later. I'll pull it up, but pretty much I started recording a little bit late, trying to get the camera set up, and it lagged on me. But yeah, me and Hannibal are caught on Blood River, and pretty much he was, Hannibal is known for playing brute, and I give him props and respect for that, because you don't see that many brute players out there. The only high-level brute player that we ever faced in the past was Two Papa Chief, and we'll always remember that guy. But pretty much Hannibal, he's up there. He can micro his units. He could freaking he could get his. He wins a lot of games. It's just that there's a lot of people that could probably counter Hannibal and get a win off him. But he does his thing though, and he gets respect for that. We respect him for that. He's at least trying, and he loves playing brute, and then he's good at it too. He wins games, and then he's fun to play. He's fun to play with, man. I always have a blast playing with Hannibal. But pretty much, yeah. So pretty much, Hannibal's strat right here was to send in that chopper right there at the exact same time that my base would be ready to get, bought and stuff like that. So he sent that damn thing. He caught me off guard and he bought it, and that's a plus for him because Hannibal, he's a defensive player kinda. He needs to get a second base up, or else if I can catch him slipping with the shield and I take it out, it's gonna be hard for him to actually to sustain a huge army when I'm gonna be blowing up all this stuff. So what he did is he bought my base. That's a good distraction already because I'm already focusing. I have to get my secondary base no matter what. So I'm gonna set up a little counter attack with my warhogs out there in the corner, and then at the same time his brute showed up right there, and then his brute's is gonna start doing work. What the main thing that Hannibal's gonna try to do is he's gonna try to get that brute 3 stars. 3 stars. So once you start getting those brutes, that chieftain hella start up, it's almost like fighting a cobra that's really start up. It's really impossible to kill. He keeps killing all your units. He sucks it up, and then that's not really good. That's not good. Pretty much we have experience fighting this guy and Two Papa Chief, and we know what happens when the brute gets that strong. So in my head, what has to go first is that brute right there. The brute is the head of the snake. You gotta kill that brute. You can't focus on nothing else. When you see that brute, you gotta kill him because he's the one that's gonna get started up, and he's the one that's gonna end up killing your army. I get a little bit nervous because that fool was actually already taking out some of my tanks, a few of my tanks in one sparring. So I sent my warhogs by accident because of frustration. I want to kill him, and I see he starts making harmonians, killing the brute. And then I get the Mac on him. I'm trying to Mac him, but he moves him just in time. And then I end up macking one of my tanks too, and it doesn't look really good for me at this point. I actually think he might actually beat me because he got my secondary base, just because of that, just because he bought my secondary base. But I got hopes up, and then I stopped the shield from going on his second, which is good. It's a distraction, a huge distraction on him because he can't make anything else. He can't make money. He can't make, another supply pad or nothing like that because if he tries to, my warhogs are going to shoot it down. So that's a huge distraction for him. Both of our monies, they're going like, it's just like whoever could save their money faster. So he's trying to get a shield on this base right here, but I'm not going to let him. That's one thing you got to focus on, the shield. You got to remember the shield being built, and then you got to constantly be making sure it's not done, like, let it go up. Same thing with the brute. You don't want to let the brute get started up and taking out all your units. So what I do is I've been doing work on the secondary base, keep shooting it left and right. He tried to attack me, and then I pushed him back with my tanks and the sparrings. The brute got weak, so he decided to pull it back out, and then I stayed and took out the remaining of the stuff on my second. So at this point he has map control, he has all 3 bases, but he's trying to focus more on saving his own second than the one that he stole from me, because my spawns and stuff are there, and if he shows up, they're gonna do a lot of work to his main chieftain. So he's gonna try to save it. So he'd rather save his second. I see that. That's why he's taking all his units at his secondary base, and he's trying to save it no matter what. And then he tries to send his brute in again, but this time, I got my tanks there. I got some flamethrowers there, and then they might start doing work on him, and then he's gonna have to pull back again because if he loses that brute, again, you know, the brute is like the main thing that he needs to keep alive if he wants to win games. You know, it's not about the army or nothing like that. It's the brute. The brute is the thing that, if you play him right with the amount of units that you need with the good micro, you could win a lot of games. You know, people have done it. It's hard. Same thing as Anders and Forge and, you know, an Arbiter. It's a hard player to play because, you know, you can get countered so easy by a Prophet. The Prophet flies over something and starts, you know, blasting your freaking main, and then you got nothing else to do. That's why a lot of people don't play brute. But, you know, I got respect for this guy because he actually tries and he wins. He beats Prophets, he beats Arbiters, he beats Cutters. You know, he beats high level people, and then he plays his brute. So that's why it's so fun to play with people like that. You know, instead of just playing all the time Prophets and Cutters and Anders. You know, I'd rather play, you know, like Poker Pro. You know, his Arbiter. You know, F20, his Arbiter. Back in the day when I used to play him all the time, they used to play Arbiter, Two Papa Chief, and his brute. But you don't see that more often. You know, people just, you know, stick with their Prophets and their Cutters and their Anders. But it's alright though, you know, you still got fun and everything. It's just, you know, it's just better if you see a bigger variety. So at this point, he lost the third. You know, I took back my second. I got a lot of money. Once I buy my second, and then, you know, at this point right here, I'm trying to do a little sneaky. I'm trying to drop ODSTs and stuff like that so I can get that Mac in and then destroy a lot of his units. So you guys gotta remember that this fool, he bought his second. He lost a lot of stuff that he was trying to build that kept blowing it up. He built he stole my second, and then he kept buying stuff there, and I kept destroying it, and I blew it up. And then I killed a lot of his units. At this point, he's kind of low on cash, and I noticed it too because you'll see it later on. I'm gonna try to make sure that he has no money because that's what it's expensive for brute to be constantly building all these units again, and then not having a freaking supply source. You know, no money coming in at all. So at a point, I'm gonna rally up all these flamethrowers and I'm gonna get the hooks, you know, so try to see if he has them or anything like that, which I'm pretty sure he does because he's a smart player. He needs the cash, he needs the money, and he probably got his. At this point, he probably got his second with the shield up and everything like that, which is fine, you know. At least I got my second back. I know that he's not gonna attack me because, again, you know, being brute, you gotta defend that brute. The main thing is the brute. You gotta keep him alive. You gotta try to get him started up. So it's not like, you know, you could just rush in with tanks or anything like that. This was it's a one-man army. Like the brute has to go and be the head of the whole thing, suck up the units and then blow them up and then one by one. And it's a process that if you guys play Hannibal, you'll see how it goes. You'll see how he'll mess you up sometimes if you don't know how to play. But I see that this fool already freaking got all the hooks, both of them too. Which is, it just makes me in my head that this was probably low on cash. And then, you know, so at this point I got a pretty decent army. I got a couple tanks, I got my flamethrowers, and I got a freaking and the Spartans out in the field. He starts sending in his units. He wants to take out my second, but I was ready. You know, having all these tanks and not that many units around that fool. It's a scary thing. So that fool bounces because he was about to lose his brute. That's the only thing that he needs. He can't lose it. And then all the remaining of the units that he has, same thing. They get killed, and then it's not like he's gonna fly over some stuff and mac me or anything like that. You know, when you play brutes, that's the advantage of doing that. But you know, I guess I guess, you know, in this game, because this guy he's beating me once before. He's a hard player to beat, but you know, I still have hella fun playing with this guy. He's just really hard to beat. He's never had that many wins on me, but that's 1v1s. At least he's trying, you know. On 2v2s, it's another story. I never really played this guy on 2v2s, but I remember back in the day when I used to play Two Papa Chief and Medieval Broom. Back when we first started playing Halo Wars, Two Papa Chief was one of the best brutes in the game. And then they had a strategy that nobody knew how to beat, which is this guy. You know, Hannibal probably is doing the exact same thing, only that Two Papa Chief was a lot more micro. Like, he would keep the brute alive at all costs, and then he would always end up starting it up. See, like this guy, he doesn't want to let it die, so he just gets it the hell out of there. But, you know, I got a Mac, and then, you know, I'm right at his doorstep. I drop a few Macs. I don't think I kill it, but he has Harmonian sucking it up with health, so I'm going to try to play my chances, and I'm going to try to kill it. I'm going to send everything I got, and we'll see how it goes. Maybe he might die, I don't know. No, it doesn't look like it because his brute is actually getting a lot of health. But then again, there's not that many units that he has. It's only the brute. He might actually have to bounce too. It's just the turns chew me up, but that's about it. And then again, you know, if I'm low on cash, this guy is definitely low on cash. He has no money probably, and the last thing he needs is to keep that brute alive. So he bounces it again, and probably took it to his second base. No doubt, that's the only base that he has. And then, you know, at this point, I pretty much kind of won the game because, you know, in the beginning, maybe he had to be more aggressive and then bringing that brute more out there. But like, you know, he popped it out, and then he never showed it up until way later, and then he let my units be alive. But I don't know, maybe he didn't build the right amount of units or the right units to counter my tanks or anything like that. But he did try, and I give him props for it because he did take my second. He took out a lot of my tanks, some of my tanks, and then he had to defend his second because I was attacking it the whole time. You know, you gotta constantly. You guys can never. If somebody takes your secondary base, you gotta try at least try to have a counterattack of some sort. And then that's the only way I won the game because I had a little counterattack with the Warhawk shooting the stuff. And then he tries one last effort. He locked up his base, saved all of his units, and then again, you see that right there? I focus on the brute no matter what because I can't let that fool. I don't care about the hunters, you know. I just care about that brute. You don't want that brute to get hella start up. And he starts taking out all my tanks. At the last minute, he makes the right units with all those hunters. And then he starts stunning my tanks with the Harmonians and all that, healing his brute. But I still got more units. There's not that many units that he has because he can't build them because of money. And then he got the shield back up, but you know, there's not much left that he could do. And it's pretty much just waiting for his resign. So yeah, this is a game with Hannable SGB, and we played on Blood River. I'll catch you guys later, alright? Stay tuned.